Wagwan! It's the fastest freaking show in MLB, absolutely anywhere. What are you, boy? Big Johnny Stud, yo, coming to you worldwide. Brooklyn, New York, as always. We out the damn chair, as always. See a couple of the usual suspects. B. Rose, baby, Wagwan, man. Jeff L. Underwater Trades. What's going on? Time to make the donuts. Who am I? I'm your host. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legeza. Flow sharper than a damn razor. Same handle over on Substack, where $2 a week gets you 8.5 pounds of shit in a 2.5 pound box. More shit, less box. More great taste and less filling. It's great. Just follow me on the social. Support good people doing good work, will ya? The company, idiot worker relationship is completely broken right now. Go farm to table and just support people. I'm out here burning the candle on both ends. MLB stuff round the clock, like without exaggeration. Pitching stats have been going up the night before. If you're into that kind of thing, because it makes my life a little bit easier. So now I'm just, if there was a 25th hour, I'd probably be working that one too. Enough of that bullshit. We got a short day today. Couple of double headers, which, like, man, you want to talk about throwing my general routine just into the bargain blender. But who wants to hear me complaining? It's the best part of waking up. The pitching sheets in the mug. Yeah, it took me forever. I pulled the pitching stuff last night, like I said. They listed the starters in reverse, and I knew it was wrong, and I got up and had to correct it, and I know it sounds kind of simple, but to flip two pitchers, there's so many things that can go wrong, and I think we got this bitch off without a hitch. So the games are spread out throughout the day. It was already a light day, so now it's light plus double headers, but nothing is at nighttime. I think there's one 7 o'clock Eastern game. So today's the day you grab the wife. Hey, honey, you know what? All this baseball, all this betting, it's kind of stupid. I'd rather watch reality TV with you. What's on? Ah, that's how you do it. Oh, Popeye. As if anybody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, we loved reality garbage TV at my house. That was the first thing that came to mind. Although, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to date myself. Though it's not like I've seen it a million times. We've been watching reruns of the Golden Girls before bed. I challenge you to find me a better written show. Hilarious without any of the F-bombs. All right, it's Framber Valdez and the Tigres, so we're going to start early. They're on the bump, 109 dog against the Braves and Bryce the Elder. Man, what's the opposite of, right, how far he's fallen? Like, oh, how the Phoenix has risen. Elder was always kind of a fade for me, frankly. Pitching a contact, really not impressive, and it's not like the underpinning stuff backed any of it. They made a couple tweaks. Braves also really kind of advancing as far as development goes. So you can see Elder's been fantastic this year. Valdez, I don't want to say not so much. One of the things we worried about that he hasn't even suffered from that much yet has been the defense. The strikeout stuff is gone. The contact stuff is through the roof. 96 zone contact is high, even for Framber. But 53 ground ball, right? 35 hard hit on Fangraphs, just 2 home runs, kind of doing Framber things. I'm a little bit perturbed with the lack of whiffs. Valdez never a 30% K guy. But if you were following along over the years, he always had the whiff pitch. He always had it. He kind of just chose not to. I mean, we'd really like to see that reflected into heavy distance. This year, just 17 outs per game. Those columns up for pitching prop people. Ks, walks, outs, and pitches per game started. Really great place to start your foundational work if you're doing pitching props. I never get around to it. I just do so much of this shit, Joe. Somebody was in my Substack thread this morning saying that the K props have been money. I honestly wouldn't know. Elder, again, has been really good. He's never inducing chases, but, just kind of getting ahead. He's filling the zone. We mentioned the change up first right now, featuring the off speed stuff they call pitching backwards. If we've heard before, and I was just kind of buying it. Throttling the worst pitches, going forward with the better ones. Problem here, he's going to be basically pitching to contact against a Tiger team that's very good against righties. This is something we identified early in the season. That's kind of manifested. Tigers have a bunch of really strong lefty bats, all very good fastball hitters. When they're up against contact-based righties, Tigers generally feasting. You can see that last 2 weeks, the offense has been very good. Scroll over to righties, you could see the extremely strong split. Tigers like the best right-hand hitting team in the league right now. Slug, OPS with discipline. Pulled line drives, lifts, and barrels, 432 XCon is through the roof. I'm getting a little worried about Elder here. I know he's been good. I think we might get a little bit of regression. And then you've got Valdez, again, pitching to pure contact. Braves v. lefties. It's not great, but it's also not bad. And if they're going to do this, he's going to be F'd in the A. Right? It's extra base hits they're on. The discipline is not great, but it's also not terrible. The chase below average, but sub 32 is not atrocious. 8% walk below average, but not atrocious. I'm a little bit worried the way the Braves are hitting right now. It's just a bad spot for Valdez. Just the quality of the contact. If it's close late, you got to like Braves. I just flashed the bullpen really quick. Last 2 weeks, Tigers with a 6.36 ERA, 1.7 whip. Braves 3.12, 1.04, respectively. So we like more scoring early than late, though I could have swore I saw a couple of 4s out there, and I'm not 100% sure. No, I got 4.5. Maybe I just grabbed it wrong. Play that I probably like the most, man, might be that F5 total. I haven't bet it yet this year. I'm going to need a lot. I'm going to need a lot of help from the internet right now. But it might be the rare F5 team total for the Tigers. My nose is itching like crazy. I think that's supposed to mean it's true somewhere in urban myth, right? Didn't mean to take you on this crazy tangent, but I want to have this up. That might be the play that I like right for looking to get after Elder, but avoid the Braves bullpen, which has been just fantastic. I wonder if we could sneak it in, the team total. See, with DraftKings, you got to go through there. Detroit team total it's 1.5, but it's minus 160. So all that to say, fucking womp womp. LC up in a piece. What's going on? Love seeing new names. Tigers or Braves this morning. I'm liking the Braves and fading Framber. Yeah, I kind of I think I was there, Daniel Park, good morning. Not perturbed. Adonis, good morning. Brian E, same. I don't know, I'm a little mixed here. I think I've got scoring. And maybe depending on the price for the 8.5, I wonder if we could get the 8 at a decent price. Because I think we're pushing the 8 almost for sure. And I think the 9 gets there. I'm kind of with everybody. Not really in love with Framber, looking for a little bit of Elder regression. Maybe that Tiger full game team totals in play, depending what it is. See, it's 3.5 minus 140. If you notice, the Algo board doesn't have the 3.5s. They weren't up. Wager talk was blank. It wasn't even like me running behind or anything. So that's probably the play that I like the most. It's a little bit gassed. But, I mean, I'm generally pairing in the afternoon. I don't hate afternoon betting. I like to watch the games. I don't like to bet on them. I feel like I'm terrible at it. But if Detroit is getting the 4 runs, if we can find that at minus 135 or minus 140, that's the play that I want. Next up, we covered this one yesterday, so I don't want to go too far into the weeds. Peter Lambert on the bump for the Stros. They're on the road as slight underdogs against the Basset Hound. Woo! And the Orioles, minus 126 at the crib. Lambert has been really good. Astros are very good at developing pitching as well. He's done really everything you could ask for. I mean, it's a small set, but these are elite numbers. 33K, 25 KBB, almost 18 swinging strike, CSW north of 33, ball rate at 34, 38 chase, 75 zone contact. Like, say what you want about believing it or not. That's fine. I will concede every small sample argument. What you can't argue, that's straight up domination. Pitchers do succeed in small samples with left on base. Maybe they were wild. Maybe it got hit hard and there was great defense. This is legit none of that. These are the strongest inputs. That's what I wanted to highlight. Astros have even corrected the likes of Yusei Kikuchi, not to pick on my boy catching strays, but he sucked before them, was great with them, like legit very good. 21 KBB, excellent Sierra, goes away, whack, terrible bullshit. There's something there, right? There's something there. So I think I like Lambert, especially against Bassett, right? This is the flip side. People kind of holding on to the wider sample, which I generally like, but the man's getting older, velo down at 91. I mean, more walks than Ks. And I'm pretty certain that we have the offensive edge as well. Astros last 2 weeks versus righties, not as good as the start of the season. However, I'm going to print this for subs. Today's argument with the Claudebot was just, shouldn't we be folding in some of these long-term stats? The more smart people you talk to, the more quant you encounter. Ask Derek Carty what he thinks about fucking splits. Ask him. He'll be very honest with you. You generally don't want to be even looking at them because they only go to mislead you. They're not big enough to be predictive. And if anything, extreme signals might be a case for regression rather than continuation. Holy crap. That was worth the price of admission right there. Support good people, doing good work. No one doing it quite like us. But I'm a person, and I couldn't help it. Right, I'm going to flip back year-to-date. I normally do year-to-date lefties, but let's just look year-to-date. I guess we can go righties. Astros fantastic, 340 ex-Woba, leading the league in doubles, 729 OPS. This is a very good team. Excellent approach, no Ks, high walk, pulling the ball with barrels. We know what that means. You know what that means. Das Boot! Right now, Astros not really doing it. It's been kind of crappy. Last 147 PAs as a team. Striking out a little bit. Lots of ground balls. You do see the underpinning stuff that we like. Orioles, starting to really look good, L7. The more you back up, the uglier it gets because the disciplinary issues they've had start to come to the fore. I think this is the fail point for Lambert. Can he keep up those swinging strikes? Right, this is what the model likes. The swing and miss, building in the floor for the Orioles against the Astros in the small set. Astros bullpen's been an abject disaster. Like, if you want to vomit, 6.55 ERA, a 5 Sierra, 1.7 whip, last 45 innings. Not much better, if not actually worse, on the season. I'm going to go back to the well. Yesterday's play was Astros F5. We were getting plus money. And moving it on. Next up, it's Hunter, the house elf Dobbies. Sorry, Mr. Dobbins. I didn't mean to butcher your name, but I just couldn't avoid the Harry Potter tie-in. Wind blowing out for the Cardinals. Yes, he's with the Cardinals, making his debut. He didn't pitch at all last year. Lots of red flags. On the road against Paulie Skeens and the Pirates. I mean, gosh, if we don't get a run line cover here, what the hell are we really doing? Model is close enough to that run line cover as a mean outcome. Paulie Skeens really, really good. The hang up here would be we do have wind blowing out, though we still have totals at 4 and 7.5, which give you an idea of, the matter at hand. Cardinals offense really coming back to life. Last 2 weeks, the discipline has been really ugly, not something we expect. Especially that zone contact dropping with the line drives, all the things that we identified that were making the Cardinals, right? That kind of archetypical, identifiable trait. Now, last 7, they are starting to show those signs, right? And this is a point for the Claudebot. You just got to be careful with any kind of smaller samples. unless there's something really tangible. If you're going to be working on, skills-based stuff, that is going to be what it's going to be. I tend to think those skills are pretty good for the Cards. I do. I'm always going to be worried when the discipline fails because the players at the center of it, like Jordan Walker came out so hot, if he's going to start flailing, we should be worried. But man, Burleson looks good and Herrera looks good. They're kind of stroking it. Are they going to get the Skeens? I don't know. My boy is crazy good. Skeens does absolutely everything. I guess we'd like to see him get ahead of more than 60% of hitters. But it's the velo, it's the stuff, it's chase, it's in zone. The ball's down. He goes deep, right? What does that look like this year? Now, that's been really low. I have to take my L really quick because that was a really bad miss on the Skeens depth. No, let me check I have to check the game log to see what it is. I know that the Pirates would kind of fool around at points. That felt like more of a last year thing. I mean, he just won 7. Maybe that's what I had in my head. Okay. It's that first outing dragging down the entire boatload. So always got to be careful with averages. Skeens has gone at least 6 innings, 3 of the last 4. So for me, it's a cover or nothing. I guess that comes down to the price. Money line is $2.25, but the run line is at even money. So the $1.25 for the run, it should just kind of ease what ails you. You're worried about the 9th frame. You're worried about the Pirates kind of not being good. All very valid concerns. Pirates offense is not very good. Though with O'Neal Cruz there, at least there is there's a real threat. Pirate bullpen has been better than the Cardinals also, excuse me. So I think you can get that cover. Let's go Cardinals to cover because we're getting the even money and moving on. Next up, Logan Webslinger on the bump for the Gigantes. San Francisco treats, leaving the West Coast, heading over to Broad Street to face Christopher Dirty Sanchez and the Fighting Phils. Only a minus 143 for the Phils on the Giants. Sanchez versus Webb still feels like a misprice. And I'm a Webb defender. I think he's a very good pitcher. Wind blowing in, for what that's worth. 3.5 total on the F5, extremely low. Let's take a look at Webb. He struggled a little bit, 4.86 ERA, 138 whip so far this season. Underpinning stuff is not what we'd expect. The swinging strike would never be too high, but now it's gone. This is like the Framber argument. The command has been there, though the walk rate is high for the low ball. Let's grant Webb the grace he deserves for command and control. All the disciplinary stuff is down. He's not getting cold stuff over the way that we're used to. The zone contact a little bit higher. The ground ball is right where we'd like. Ball getting struck pretty hard. I mean, he's down to 92.5. I'll tell you why I'm a little bit worried about Webb. And it's the Undertaker gif with the damn Phillies. Oh, yes! We were talking about the Phillies as being too talented for the production we've seen. And yeah, the last 2 weeks have absolutely been gross. This is when I like to use L7. Now, as I was talking, if you were looking at the board, I was flipping across. Really, that's an advertisement for the strength of the tools. As you're thinking, you can move it, right? You kind of scroll, follow the way that I run this thing, right? You scroll this stuff down, that you could just go left to right or right to left, however you're more comfortable, and build that argument as you're going, right, without losing any time. So as I make the case to avoid small samples, I do think this macro sample is still too small and will be affected by the general talent, right? So even while I'm making this like small sample case, it really is a big sample case. So remember, as they say, there's layers to this shit. Damn right, yo. I think the Phillies are entirely too talented. Last 7, we're seeing the things we expected. Pulled hard hit balls that are lifted with very good discipline and lots of contact. Give me a 91 zone contact Phillies team. You're going to be in trouble. Giants, Penn has been good, but the underpinning stuff failing. I don't know why I'm like obsessed with the Cardinals lately. I'll tell you why it is. I thought they were going to be terrible, and the Giants are. The Cardinals have been awesome. Now I did the floppity. Damn it. But I was so low on the Cardinals, and they ended up being really damn good. Jason's up in the house. Let's go, Corked Stats crew. Everybody follow my guy. Got a question in here from Chandler Bryant. Good morning, sir. Do you take any consideration of how series have gone in getaway days? Do potential sweeps sway your cap? Gosh, this is such a freaking good question. This is such a great question. And, like, man, this is the perfect time to all the stuff we were talking about. I think so. I want to, but I couldn't prove it. But I know my record is worse during the day. And this is the ultimate quant versus boomer. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. A quant versus pro better. Quant versus old school better, right? Quant versus kind of number better. And they're into that stuff. The quant is always going to tell you the events are independent, the samples are too small, it's not to be reacted to, right? That's kind of my case. The flip side is, these are fucking humans that are thinking about hunting and fishing. Lineups are also weirder in getaway days, and people have shit going on, which bubbles to the surface when you're that close. Players talk about it, coaches talk about it, so we know it's not imaginary. But to me, it almost feels like a BVP thing, where we just can't prove it mathematically to the point that we need to execute it. But I think if you avoid it or lean into it, the other side, I actually think it's going to be more beneficial. Because I believe there's something there, maybe not too much. But let's say if you found outliers where that leaned into that kind of analysis, then I think it's a play. My guys at the Source Network would talk about Miami, and maybe there were certain teams where that's a thing, which again might not be totally subjective. It might have to do with scheduling and transportation and stuff. Remember, not all teams are the same. It's not standardized. So it makes it really difficult. So I don't mean to dip, duck, dive, and dodge or answer or question Chandler, but it really is kind of difficult. I do not use that stuff. So when you see an emoji, that's something that I used. You see the bullpen emoji, I weighed that. Don't double count it. You see wind, I counted that. Don't double count it. If you want to use that, I'm not going to tell you not to. But I did not, so you can, if that fucking makes sense. Then Daniel and I got back into it. How much better is Sanchez than Webb, in my opinion? It's quite a bit. Webb has a million miles on the tire. His style of pitching is not as conducive to this new environment. In particular, and I think this specifically goes for Webb, Patrick Bailey was the framing god, and now you're not getting all that. And I think that might be part of the strike stuff and the strikeout stuff for Webb. So I'm kind of going into that Webb is going to suffer from the ABS because he's not getting all the beneficial calls. Right? He's got the old school feel. Bailey has the old school feel. They were stealing mass amount of fucking strikes. So, and on a per inning basis, I think Sanchez is just better anyway. Now I'm flipping back to that board. Look at the disciplinary stuff. It's not even close. Swing and miss, CSW, ball rate, first strike, chase rate, zone contact, just across the board. And he has a better ground ball rate. So you get all the fucking trimmings of sexy time. And the Giants' offense is totally whack. Look at this Giants last 7. They're batting .210 as a squad, 85 WRC plus. You gotta like the Phils to win here. I'd be shopping this around. Minus 140 is right around the limit that I'll pay for a straight in MLB. I don't have enough signal for the run line, and I'm not ready to totally sell Webb down the river, and I don't have like a full-on confidence in Philly. I do think they win because I think we have the advantage. Fail point might be that bullpen I mentioned before I stumbled on my own words. Underpinning stuff is a little bit scary. I'm always going to struggle to believe in a bullpen that has a double-digit walk rate and is pitching to contact with the ball in the air. Like, you're putting guys on for nothing. And then the ball is in play, which is totally fucking random. Thanks, John. Always love the videos. Waiting for you to hop back on with Sauce. I'll be on tonight at midnight. Usually I had been doing the Thursday into Friday show. Didn't get to catch up with him last week. I will be back in the saddle. Daniel says, I agree that he's quite a bit better. Kyle had some good stuff on web, being just as good. I'm going to see him tonight. I'll ask him. And we'll have the benefit of seeing. So if I'm wrong, I just won't mention it. Right? And if I'm right, I'm going to bring it up, baby. All right. That was like more than enough. The show has no games and it's going to go extra long. But sometimes I think it's cool to not say fill up the air, but show off a little bit more of what we do. Right? I like to show my process. I like to interact with people, let you know I'm not just fucking guessing. Now let's blow through it, man. Especially the doubleheader stuff is very hard to cap. Lineups, there might be injuries, bullpen use in particular. I wanted to say that that's very important. But back to your question before about the trend stuff. There was once a time where I know somebody who, if the home team lost the first end of a doubleheader, he was running to fucking smash that. The Mets just had that the other day. They fucking dropped it to the Rocks. So that happens. All right, Michael Lorenzen on the bump for the Rockies. They did work yesterday against the Reds, carried our over all by themselves. He's on the bump against Andrew Abbott and the Redlegs. Again, I got scoring. Cincinnati starting to play up. I would have loved to get this at 8.5. But again, Cincinnati's always going to get the benefit of the doubt. Look at these two pitchers, just awful. Lorenzen with a 6 ERA, Abbott at 6.6. Abbott, that regression to fantasy honks we're talking about, has really come crashing home. At least Lorenzen is keeping it down, but he's getting cracked. Abbott's up in the air and getting pulled. This is really, really bad. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Rockies haven't really hit lefties. Didn't seem to stop him yesterday. The strikeout stuff's been terrible. Not really Abbott's game. They've been aggressive and getting line drives. That's led to the average and the high BABIP. Remember, BABIP is not always to be regressed. Depends on the type of balls in play, right? And then the red side, Reds v. righties. Starting to show some strength. Last 368 plate appearances. Top 5 homers, getting extra base hits, not chasing, which we love. Fly balls and barrels. Oh, this is a little bit of maybe what we hope we'd get from the Reds. Maybe I am starting to believe back in the Redlegs. L7, maybe more of a sellout thing, but the good type, because the chase rate's really good. We'll take the strikeouts, it's fine. They're not pulling it as much as I'd like for true sellout, but man, tons of fucking barrels. 13.7 barrel, 405 Woba, 153 WRC plus from the Reds. Last 7, they have a bunch of streaky hitters. If they're going to start producing as a squad, I think maybe we're going back to the over on this one. Both bullpens a little hard to trust. And I'd love to see the team totals. You know what? I actually have the benefit. I have that DraftKings window up. Let me check really quick. Sometimes, weird, the team totals won't necessarily reflect the game total or how I think. But sometimes they don't physically add up. Okay, so this is it, right? Unless the game total dropped and I didn't get it updated in time, which happens. No. The game total is 9. However, the Reds are set at 4.5 minus 125. The Rockies are set at 3.5 minus 120. This always rubs me weirdly. Again, those are cheap, relatively cheap prices for team totals, minus 125, minus 120. Both teams can clear their individual team total and you not hit the game over. Man, Rockies to 4 feels like a pretty nice spot. I've got Rockies to 4 and Reds to 5. So I've got this one, over the 9. I'm going to put 09, but it should go without saying, in the age of alt totals, you really want to be shopping these around. Now, I'm not getting taking totals up to 140. That's not what I'm saying, minus 140. Do not do that. But sometimes the half run is like 12 cents or 18 cents. Yo, I'm taking an 18-cent determinative run. I'm taking it, especially if I'm pairing. Different ways to skin a cat without scratching its asshole. Very important to remember. Next up, Miles Michaelis is pitching for the Nats. Is something wrong with Mitchell Parker? What the hell is going on? Mitch Parker is like one of my guys. I love Mitchell Parker. And I thought he was healthy. Maybe he's fucking rehabbing. I don't want to spin off the rails. I get so upset with some of these teams. Miles Michaelis is apparently pitching. He's a 180 dog. Up in Queens to face Freddie got fingered Peralta in the Let's Go Mets go minus 220 for the Metropolitans. I mean, I've got a pretty clean win. Though we're going to want to munge into that bullpen. But I've got Mets scoring through 5, Mets scoring full game. This one also going over the 8 because we like the Nats offense. Yesterday was one of those plays that I'm really proud of. You know, identifying an underdog and then having everything kind of go exactly how we had called it. Nats wrecked the fucking lefty. Cavalli was good. Mets were overrated, way overpriced. And that was a smashy, right? It was a 9-2 through 5 or whatever. So 11-2, whatever the fuck it was. A kill. Just totally mushroom stamped the shit out of them. Redmond, what's going on, man? 9-10. Top of the morning, fam. How you doing, player? My boy, Paolo, what's going on? Daniel P back in there. And we got one more. Mark S., what's going on, mi gente? Cold weather, day games, perfect recipe for pitchers to get right today. Careful on the overs. Correctamundo. However, I always, right, if I got the emoji, I got it baked in. And if the price is still there against the work, I will still pull the trigger, right? Though that's part of the flow state, right, that I was mentioning. With confidence, though. Love the addition of nuance because it really is important. You know, the door swings both ways, and I'm always ears open. So what do we got in this one? I got derailed a little bit. Yeah, I got Mets. Frankly, I wanted to do the Nats righties before we see if we want the Mets cover. So Nats righties has been pretty gross. They're really kind of split pretty hard, the Nats. 360 PAs to a 209 batting average, sub 300 OBP, sub 600 OPS. Now, the discipline's been pretty good, but the ball's on the ground. Man, I'd like to think Peralta is going to shove him, right? You've got the edge there. He's been really good, a little bit wild. And if he's going to walk Nats, he's going to be in freaking trouble. I think that's the question you want to ask yourself is, do you believe in Peralta's command and control? If the answer is yes, if you think Peralta's going to rein it in, the Mets are going to outlast the Nats, I think. They are going to stretch Michaelis, get to him, and even if it's okay, outlast Nats later on. If you think Peralta is not going to rein it in, you got to give the Nats enough credit. The way that they do things, taking walks, getting on base, always stealing and stretching that extra, right? First to third, second to home, forcing throws and errors, extra bases. It turns into the fucking bad news bears when you play these guys. It ain't bad this year.
This is Sparta!
Excuse me. If that's the case and you're not buying the Peralta command, it's an over. Because it's nice and low, 8. So I'm like torn. I will tell you, the Mets cover feels like a fucking donkey play. It really does. And I want to bet it. Model is giving me a nudge, but meh. Minus 220 on the money line, plus 100 on the run line. That seem, 120-cent offer is pretty good, like I mentioned before. Not sure I have the confidence I have in Peralta as I do in Skeens. And I also would rather not face the Nats. So maybe the play is actually Mets scoring. That one's worth a look. And I think that kind of answers, all the questions that I have. So game totals, Oh, no, sorry. Team props. Mets 4.5 minus 110. That's the play I want. I'd rather isolate the Michaelis, isolate to the bullpen, not have to worry about the Nats scratching across runs and all that bullshit. We had Cubbies yesterday, and in like pure Johnny Lasagna fucking fashion, they loaded the bases in the first, get one, and then we're sweating the bullet bitch later on. They ended up getting it across. Yeah, the team total stuff has been really good. If you want to see it in action, I really can't recommend enough. Check out the live chat on YouTube. There's a way to look at it even after it's over. I think it depends on the view. There's a live chat replay. It's a little gray box. Or if not, because it's basically every damn day, Jeff, L, and Jason in particular, forgive me if I don't call you out. I know Tony's been doing some work also. These alt team totals and both teams to score. Guys are printing green screens every day. And I think that's a really clever way to use the model in softer markets. As much as we love the model and we know it's accurate, right? We're in front of CLV constantly. Do any games ever go against us? Like, legit. Just call it out. Call it out. I want clown emojis. For real, I do. If we have a play and the market is just wildly goes against us, right? We have a pick and the money line swings against us. We're on an over and the total goes the other way. Legit, call it out. I respect it. I give you fucking, a free month subscription. You know what I'm saying? Like, I send you baseball cards. What do you want? Like, we know it's good. It doesn't predict the future. No matter how much we want it to. It doesn't fucking predict. It does not predict the future. But these mean outcomes, understanding distribution curves, and then how those are impacted when you move to an alt total. Again, you guys are super sharp. I love you all. And it's really flattering and refreshing to see people taking my work and, using it. And in different ways. Like, notice I don't talk about, I'm not pick selling. There are picks because people want to fucking tail. We're having fun doing this shit. But I don't pick sell. So to be creative, I love that's what it is. I love the creativity in these markets that are always ever changing. So Mets score 5 and moving on. This one I had a tough time with because I'm getting pushed and pulled in every direction. Mikey Soroka's on the bump for the Snakes, plus 105 dog on the road against Sheriff Woody, Brandon Woodruff, and the Cheesemakers. My first thought initially is, this is a spot that we might like to half run on Arizona, depending on the price. This is also a spot we might like to go under the F5 4.5, depending on the price and the line. With that, book beat us to all that. And, I can't even say like it's the model and people steamed it. This got posted this way, and it's just, books are sharpening. Soroka really effective on a per inning basis. He's one of the guys, if you ask me, like on the short list, like Johnny, what starting pitcher doesn't get enough respect? Who can I look for as an underdog? Generally, Mike Soroka is that guy. He did it last year. He's doing it this year. Command control, 24 KBB, 28 CSW, 33.5 ball, 37 chase. Yo, we love that shit, man. Now he's up in the zone a bit. That's always kind of been the case. A couple of these barrels are going to get out. He's not an ace. But you hope to get Soroka in the 4.5 against an ace. But the Brewer offense is so shitty. They've just been terrible. From what I understand, Churio is really close. Maybe he'll be the rising tide that lifts all ships. As I was bullshitting, I flipped over Brewers versus righties last 2 weeks. 340 PAs of absolute filth. Batting .224 with a .563 OPS, a .031 ISO. You're going to be hard-pressed to see that all year. Remember, this is a 2-week righty sample. This is going to be 325 plate appearances almost no matter what. 300 baseline. That's as low as she goes. They're entirely too patient. Then it's on the ground and hit weekly. This Brewers team sucks. They suck right now. Other side, Diamondbacks offense is good. Carroll just donged. Marte just donged. I think from a skill perspective, Arizona's really good. Last seven's been weak, but this I'd be ignoring, right? It's talent plus wider sample leading me towards kind of what, not to say priors, but just what we know is anyone going to argue Corbin, Carroll, and Kittle Marte are not good? No. When these guys are shitty, yeah, you strike them while they're cold. Once they start double donging, you get the hell out of the way. We all know this game is played in waves, sine waves. It happens in fucking bunches and avalanches and shit. But the thing is, generally, you're going to get signals. Both bullpens a little bit better than I thought. Brewers, maybe I thought they'd be good. Arizona has been a shock. The ERA is high, but the underpinning stuff is strong. So all that to say, fuck. The 4.5 that I wanted to go under is a 4. I don't want to go under the 4. I don't trust Soroka that way. The other part of the equation was seeing Woodruff. You would have thought Mike Soroka at Brandon Woodruff, right? I would have thought that price was going to be minus 140. It's minus 126. That's really freaking tempting. Now, that's held overnight, pretty much. And when you calculate for the favorite at home, I think you're getting a deal. So as much as I like Soroka and kind of hate the Brewers' offense, if I had to pick, it's jumping the discount on Woodruff. Go minus 125. Watch Soroka shove. But yeah, the price just got me on this one. Different price, so I had a different call. Remember, I know a lot of people said, but I thought you think they're going to win. It's not, that's not necessarily how we do it, you know? Shit, I screwed up my timer. Okay, we're ready again. Next up, Noah Cameron on the bump for the Royals with cheese, plus 109 underdog. They're in Sacramento to face Jeffrey Poland Springs and the Elephants balancing on beach balls, minus 131. Favorites at home. Man, Cameron has not been good this year. I didn't think he was great. I thought he would be good. Viable MLB pitcher, back-end SP3, just to be realistic. And he's not been. He's been gross. Springs, I think, is a good pitcher. I never wanted to pitch him in that park because he pitches to contact up in the zone with a really shitty fastball. Now, Cameron's is not far behind. Two of the worst four-seamers among starters that are throwing them 30% of the time. Now, remember, this is lefty-lefty, so you see the double red. Year-to-date splits are not strong either way. Not really doing much of anything. A's are striking out. Does Cameron get on track? Maybe. They haven't done anything. Now, if I'm not mistaken, okay, Royals' offense is definitely up off the mat. Oh, yes. But against a tough lefty in Springs, I don't know. Then you get the optimal hitting environment, which is never a good thing. So you know this should go without saying, because I mentioned how I'll put emojis to avoid double counting. Sacramento is one of those ballparks where it's inherently built in. Coors, Sacramento, Cincinnati. So I had this one low, if I'm not mistaken. I came in under with the adjustment. So that's where I wanted to get out. I knew that was coming. Now, I'm not necessarily running to smash it under here. We've got 4.8 is a 5. We've got 4.5, which is a lot of 5s. So this one gets to 10 a bunch of times. What's the problem? As always, you hear me say it. The pitching edge with the favorite is at home. Once you remove that frame, those are percentages, right? That's 3 out of 54 outs, right? So it's something. And it's just going to come down the line. I'm also tempted, this one, to make the same play as before, where I think we have the better team out of minus 130 or better. I'm just really worried about the ballpark and the heat from the Royals. So I'm going to make the show pick A's to win because Cameron's really bugging me. But I'm not really feeling it. I may actually change it to the 10. I'm going to erase. I'm going to change it to the 10. I'd feel more comfortable going after all the strong signals than, like, again, the Springsteen fucking will really worry. It really worries me. I'm not going to be able to get past that. I'd be lying if I said I was. Next up, Kevin Gausman. This is the last single game on the day. And the Bluebirds, minus 135, favorites on the road against Bailey Ober and the Twinks. Twinks plus 112 at home, wind blowing out. Hate these situations. Spots that we'd be looking for pitching, but the wind's blowing out. So you get these like up totals and you're getting dared by the books. Gausman's been damn good this season. On the shortest list for best pitchers in the league, 2.57 ERA and a .94 whip. All the indicators are below 3. I'm not sure there's another pitcher that even has that. Does Skeens even have that? Even Skeens doesn't have that. Skeens' Sierra is at 3.23. Sanchez's Claude, which is skill-based, is over 5. His MLB me 3.6, expected it over 3 also. So he wasn't even a great example. Just to give you an idea, Skeens was a good example. Very difficult. Very rarely does it happen that you get that kind of concurrence, right? That agreement. That speaks for itself. Each one of those columns, if you're an audio-only listener, you'll appreciate everybody. I got my first offer for a sponsor because the downloads are going crazy. We're doing like multiples of what we've ever done. Appreciate everybody. Again, if you're a video person, I do appreciate you too. YouTube is like the path to the holy land here. You know, it's the path to real monetization. But I get it. The audio pod comes out. It's much shorter because I cut out all the all the derps. All my derps. And to any content creator or aspiring content creator, you know, run a live stream, then go and remove all the silence, and you can't believe how much time is wasted. So there's a, you know, truncated version of the show every day available on Spotify and Apple. Okay. Then it's on to Ober, who's definitely been pretty good. Now, he's got the Sierra starting to pop above 4. Right there's the raised eyebrow. This is why we like to use more than one of these things and have them set with different skills. That's what I was mentioning. If you're audio only, expected ERA and Sierra, I think those are the two strongest public-facing indicators. Expected ERA has a tinge towards contact quality because it's a legit translation from ex-WOBA. Is the filter queen explaining this shit to you? No. Unequivocal fucking no. Sierra, skills independent, earned run average. Again, that's going to be more skills based. But I think it does miss some of the components in the contact quality, which is, right, missing, and poor four-seamers, right, that tend to get damaged. Claudebot, just long story short, we're going to get out of here. I don't really like to do doubleheaders. They're a fucking waste. Lots of things are going to change, if not the pitchers. We could do a quick board read. Oh, shit. Yeah, it was important for me to always test my work. This popped when I was writing for The Athletic, and I was just testing all the earn run indicators in season to see what might be the most predictive of ERA for, you know, not just fantasy honks, but us bettors also. And it turned out whip was stronger than all the indicators. So I, with that as a benchmark, was all fine-tuning the MLB indicator that you see is custom. You get that when you sign up to the stack. You know, every pitcher, every game, you get that. When I got Claude, and it turned out Claude is actually fantastic. Like, I have a set of challenges for AI that I'm going to get rid of it, because a lot of them are really bullshit. You got to be very careful. For checking and doing mathematics, it's very good. Try not to have it think for you. You can have it execute, you know, calculations perfectly. So I gave it a ridiculous data set told it how I created mine, and challenged it to create a stronger earn run indicator using a completely different methodology. When I saw it, I thought it was maniacal. Fucking nuts. I would have, again, this is the computing power that us, measly humans don't have. But it was all skill-based. And I gave it a whirl. And it passed all the tests. Like that part, obviously. So that's the Claude where you see Claude. It's like a Claude Sierra, AI Sierra, because it's all skill-based. Right, and it doesn't use earn run indicators. That was another one, too. I think if you're creating your own, I think you should weigh in expected ERA in Sierra. I think it's smart to ground yourself in reality, knowing that the time-tested products, are going to anchor you. And then if you still have an outlier, then that's something you could push on against. But similar to the draft board, I know we have some NFL draft people here. This conversation is going on with the Jaguars and the 49ers. Like, should you care? Should you not care? I tend to think with enough experts in the room, it's almost like using projections in the draft. A draft. I was thinking fantasy draft, but also a real draft. If you're orders of magnitude away from the consensus, does it mean you're wrong? No. But then you shouldn't reach. Right? There's the push and pull of, again, ain't gonna get this with the chief jiggling officer. Ain't gonna get this with the Lloyd Christmas fucking haircut. Ain't gonna get this with the filter queen. Right? That's just what it is. This is what this is. You want that fucking stupid shit? There's the door. I'm getting, like, I had all I could stand, and I can't stand some more. Getting bad MLB betting content stuffed at my fucking throat 24/7. My shit I can't find. Anyway. Indicators matter, how to use them matter, just so you know kind of what's going on with mine. Right? So we have all the stuffs and the things. So over Sierra, his disciplinary metric is high. Claude kind of bringing that back down to earth, and so is mine. So we're actually believing, right, that was in 49 million words or less. Am I buying back into Bailey Ober? I mean, this guy was so good for a while and then so bad for a while. The problems still are going to be there, I think. The four-seamer that's low velo, when he misses, is up and out. The command and the control has been good enough to prevent that. How long does that last? I don't know. And then when the weather gets hot, does that sustain? These are the things I'm worried about with the fly ball guys and stuff. Jason says, TED Talk done. Word. I'm sorry, I hate doing this. I hate doing this to people. Redman, agree. Might be Redmond. Might be Redman. I don't know. Either way, love you. C-Cam's dedication to John's podcast is being in Australia this week and not missing a minute of the show. Is this fucking madness, baby?
This is Sparta!
Yo, you just gave me the strength to run through a freaking wall, man. Appreciate all yous. That was just crazy. Love that. Hold on, I'm gonna screenshot. I started to screenshot my favorite ones. Then I go back to my computer and I find them and I'm like, oh, I was sick. Those make the best advertisements, also real people that like your stuff. So I think I'm believing in over, but I'm worried. I know I'm believing in Gaussman, but I'm kind of worried about the Twins offense, not something I thought I'd be saying. I led this off with a bit of confusion, and I think that's where I'm ending. I want to go under, but I'm worried about the win with a guy like Ober. I mean, that's a nightmare. You can't, that's just too much. I like Gaussman also with the minus 135. It feels right. Model is telling me to pump the brakes. It's a little too close. Not quite on the Twins, and I think I'm just fading. I might leave this one blank. I really like the Twins, but the Jays are good also. Bremen was agreeing with on his parlay mentions. Yeah. Oh, okay. That wasn't for me. I still appreciate these anyway. All right, quick board reading. Let's get the freak out of here. On the doubleheader stuff, oh man, the House Painter. It's Andrew House music against Andrew the House Painter. This wasn't even listed. Maybe it's up now. I didn't want to cover it because I was worried they would swap the pitchers on us, and that is a nightmare. You could bet it without listed starters. Phillies are minus 140. I like that. I like Painter minus 140. But until we know what's going on, these are very hard to bet on. And then Lance McCullers against Brandon Young. That one I know I like Brandon Young. McCullers has been okay, but the Houston pen has been garbage. Yuv has been shunging. It's Young has been shoving. Don't spoonerize that. And Houston offense is good, don't get me wrong. But they've kind of ticked down a bit, and they're starting to trail. They're starting to trail a little bit. Don't worry, Mr. 910. It's all good. Man, I take my L's L for love. I take them. We got to be like that. We got to be honest in our assessments and self-auditing. Again, I make so many mistakes. Imagine if I tried to take on, I don't make mistakes. I'm going to cover and trying to lie about shit. It's so stupid. Just eat the L's, people. Nom, 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 nom. Just fucking eat them. They're not always delicious, but they do get easier to fucking swallow. So that'll do it. Let's get the hell out of here, yo. I'm going to scroll back up the board. I'll read off the show picks and we'll get the freak out of here. I had Detroit to score 4 runs against Bryce the Elder. Houston, Pete Lambert, F5 win. Pittsburgh and Paulie Skeens gets a cover on the Cards. Dirty Sanchez beats up on the Web Slinger. Philly wins. Colorado, Cincinnati, lots of runs in Great American Small Park. Mets get the 5 runs against Miles Michaelis. And Sheriff Woody and the Brewers bring home the dub. Appreciate everybody for participating. Look like the actual live number spiked a little bit. Our average watch time is through the roof. We cracked 500 subscribers. And, I appreciate all that stuff. If you comment after, I try and get back to everybody. If you can figure it out, check out the live comments and you see smart people hashing out plays that are worthy of a thank you. But also the Twitter handle. I try and retweet everyone that tags me. Lately, there's been so many of them, which is awesome. The reason I retweet them, obviously, to, auto glaze. But at the same token, when it's so creative, people see that and say, both teams to score 2 runs? And you're like, yeah, motherfucker, yes. Both teams scored 2 runs. Both teams have scored 3 runs, and they're like good teams. Like, yes, that's out there. You have to know it exists. You have to know where to look, and then you have to have the kind of wherewithal and the gumption. Right? When's the last time you heard that word? To go get it. So from everybody here at La Costa Legaze, shout out to Jason and Jeff. AM and Trades, Redman and Mark, and just everybody out there digging the show, picking up what we're putting down. And I'm getting to the point, this is just the best baseball show on the internet. And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. Sorry, that's just what it is, Facts is facts. I feel like it's quantifiable at this point. Check me out on the Source Network. That's the 1A, if anything. Damn it, they're probably better. Damn it, I only made it 30 seconds before taking the L. Because they do it earlier, their lines are better, and they're fucking better. Fine. But they got 100 times the following, so... for what we are, we're pretty damn fierce. Enjoy the games, enjoy the day. When we done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, the winning feels a lot less like luck, yo.